Hello everybody, Sanjita here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how this super stat Datacron set is going to be affecting pretty much every non-galactic legend team, at least the core ones, the standard ones, if you will, and how their stock, if you will, is going to go up or down with this set. This set is all about survivability. There's offensive stats as well, but there's only a couple of them, and the main focus is survivability, given this dominant level 3 ability, which is giving, if it's working correctly, 60% max health and max protection to a full team of 5 if it's all light side, or dark side if you have the inverse Datacron, which is going to make an interesting change in the power landscape. Just going to be a complete upheaval, at least if everyone has the right Datacrons. It shouldn't be too hard to reroll the right level 3. So every team, I'm going to talk about how their stock is going up or down, assuming that they have the kind of optimal data set with this level 3 bonus and decent survivability stats. And I'm also going to be assuming that they're going to be going against teams that have the same setup. So that is the landscape on which I am going over each team. So let's begin. Their stock is going up. Their damage is mainly based on exposes from Radis's leadership ability, which is not affected by defense, and it doesn't care how high the health goes, it's still 20% damage based on the health. So they're definitely going to be a great offensive weapon. They might be good on defense, but I think bounty hunters are still a dominant counter to them. Especially when bounty hunters have more survivability. So I'm going to say take it on offense, but Radis' stock is definitely going up. It's going to be a great cheese team. Radis is already very durable, so he's going to be almost impossible to kill, making Jin impossible to kill. And if you have those two, you can bring the whole team back and eventually just kill the team with exposes and healing immunity and all that good stuff. Next up is CLS, and this team is also going up for a similar reason, that they have a lot of percentage health-based damage. Exposed from C-3PO. Chewbacca's unique, where he's causing 10% or 20% health damage on his attacks. But it's going to combine to be an amazing setup. Yeah, 20% max health, and combined with the fact that they have great offense anyway and great control, they can take charge of a match. And if they have the extra survivability, it'll be harder to kill them. They have great protection and health recovery, so they're going to stay alive and going to be able to control the match very well. Their stock is going way up on either offense or defense. I am not going to want to face them on defense, and on offense, they're going to be an amazing tool to use. Now we got Dash, Rendar Squad, and I'm assuming you're going to use IG-11 Quill, Vandor, and Nest, and I'm going to argue that their stock is going down. That might be a hot take, and I might get some arguments, but this is a team that mainly is just fast and furious. They're trying to get you down really quick, and since if the offense isn't coming up to match the defense and survivability of the opponent, you're not going to be able to do that. At least on defense, this is going down because Dash's AoE isn't going to wipe out a whole team or cripple them just as much as it would. They're going to be able to hang in there and have more survivability. It could be more annoying with Nest. I mean, I could see Nest being annoying, but if you have the right thing to handle Nest, you can handle Nest, even if she has extra health and protection. Yes, Dots from IG-11 might come into play, but this team doesn't, to me, have enough damage to punch through the bigger opponents. And yes, Dash might have been able to counter JML in the right circumstances previously, but I think with a super beefy defensive JML, this is not going to work anymore. So Dash is definitely down in my book, but I'd love to hear differing opinions. In a similar vein, I think the Qui-Gon team is also going down in their stock, and it varies kind of the fifth members of the team. But Anakin, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Qui-Gon are the core, and they're about just killing teams really quick, really fast with enough damage. And if you're facing a team that can get past that damage threshold, past its survivability threshold, where Anakin's not one-shotting the whole team with his AoE, then you've kind of lost it. And a lot of times it's a toss-up anyway, and if you're pretty much doubling the survivability of the other team, this is not going to do as much. Definitely not on defense. And then on offense, I don't know how you're going to use it either. It was already hard enough for me to find a good use for this. Definitely going down. However, to mitigate the downfall of Qui-Gon Jinn, you can just do this one simple trick and replace him with Padme. Padme's ideal team has Ahsoka Tano and General Kenobi, but usually they're going with Jedi Master Kenobi. If you don't have Jedi Master Kenobi, this team's going to be amazing, I think. I mean, her leadership is built for this. The Courage is dealing 40% of the target's bonus damage compared to the target's max health, which doesn't care about defense. and no matter how high the health goes, it's still doing that much. I mean, if you have a super protection-heavy team, maybe this could have problems. But her and Anakin together shouldn't be a problem. Mace is a great add-on there. Ki-Adi-Mundi might not have a home. But this is going to be great on offense. Just use Padme selectively if you got a team that has tons of defense or tons of health. Might be just the go-to you need. And if you can be creative, maybe take Ahsoka Tano away from JMK just for that purpose. Now we have the Malgus team, and this team stock is going way up for a lot of reasons. I mean, Malak, I don't think he's getting the full benefit of all that double protection and health, because I think it converts to health before he gets the extra protection. Whether he gets 75% of his combined amount or not, I'm not sure. But Malgus, Malak, they're so tanky, and they have such amazing damage. Malgus's damage is just going up with his Dark Deception ability. It's going to be super high depending on how much extra health he has from stats and that ability. He's going to be even more dominant than he was before. Now you already feel hopeless against him without a Galactic Legend. I mean, if you're going Sith Eternal Emperor against him, he might even beat it. I mean, with that extra damage on the hop ability. But this is going to be such a scary team. Their damage is already crazy. They have so much control. This is basically a Galactic Legend team with all these new stat boosts. Next up, we got the Zori team, and their stock is rising, I would argue. They have amazing damage from exposes, which we've already talked about. They don't care about your defense or how high your health is. And making them more survivable is just going to make them that much harder to deal with. This is going to be an amazing team on offense or defense. And yes, the Omicron means it's mainly working in GAC, great. But in Territory Wars, I feel like you could make good use out of this as well, although it'd probably only go offense in Territory Wars. But still a super strong team. In 3v3, it's also going to be great. I mean, Zori has a ton of survivability already. She doesn't look like it, but this is over 100,000 protection and 78,000 health. It just almost basically double that in a lot of circumstances. She's going to be Galactic Legend level survivability. And then, like I said, their damage is just crazy. So going way up for this team. And now we have Mon Mothma. Her stock already wasn't doing quite well, but I think it's going down even further. Yes, they have a Terminator train, but they just simply don't have enough damage to make it scary. I don't know if this is going to see much use. Maybe on defense, it could be some kind of timeout team, but I don't really see it. I think if you know how to beat Mon Mothma, you're coming in with enough control that they're not going to get that Terminator train off. It's just something you got to avoid. And then on offense, yes, they're going to be a good Java cleanup team, I guess, but maybe not anymore with all that extra survivability. But yeah, they just don't have enough damage. Their stock is going down. Now we got Trench, and I'd argue that their stock is going down. I think you'd probably still want to use set 8 on them if you have the right setup with Trench's Datacron. I still don't like using this team because Watt is so essential to me otherwise. But this doesn't have a ton of percent health, or not enough to make up the difference for all the survivability. Yes, there's burning, there's some dots, and then there's extortion. But this team, if you can out-survive them, you can put her on them. So either offense or defense, I think the stock on Trench is going down. But again, I'm not too familiar with him. I'm not an expert, so who knows. Moving back to the bullish side of things, we have a team whose stock is going up for sure. I think you probably still want to use set 8 with this team, but Starkiller, Mara Jade, and Emperor Palpatine have so much damage going on. They might have trouble against Rey, I'm not sure. But with the Mara Jade Datacron, she's doing percent health damage for shock, which is happening all the time, so that's great. Killers. His health is going to be super high, so his Star Destroyer is going to be a massive damage hit to the other team. And then with so much survivability, against Rey, they're going to be tanking whirlwinds like nobody's business. They have so much damage to make up for it and so much survivability already. This team's going to be insane, either on offense or defense. And now that I think about it, I was kind of mixing up which DC set they'd have. If you use set 9, the Star Destroyer is going to be huge and all that. But I think probably set 8 is still good. So they do have enough damage for set 8. Set 9, the survivability is going to make them insane. So sorry if that was a little confusing. And now we got Mr. Grievous. And this is going to be a clear stock rise to me. I think it's going to be more of an increase on offense than defense. I do think it goes up for defense because Grievous is going to be amazing with all the extra health. But on defense, you still have the vulnerability of B1. If they're coming in and they know what they're doing, they can still knock out B1 just as easily as they did before and try to control the team. Although Grievous is going to be a monster with all that extra health. And I don't know, maybe he's going to be a Galactic Legend killer. We have to see. It just depends how survivable the enemy team is. But Grievous is going to be amazing. And I have Droideka here. That's going to be the optimal team in Territory War. In Grand Arena, you probably want Newton there or something. But yeah, and extra survivability is great for Magna Guard too. B1 can heal them up. So it's going to be really annoying to deal with Magna Guard. I do think this team is going to be much improved with set 9. Now, if you thought Malgus got better, I think General Skywalker may have gotten even better than Malgus got. Skywalker loves his protection. He loves defense. It makes it so hard to get through the team. You already have such a short window to get through 5s, who has one of the highest defense armor stats in the game. He's so hard to get through, and you only have a few turns to do it. Then Charles Skywalker gets up. You got to go through it again, and if you're not using insta-kills or Galactic Legend, it's going to be bad news. And on top of that, they have such great scaling damage that you are not worried about the survivability of a lot of teams. I mean, aerial advantage is one prime example. The longer the match goes on, this becomes basically an insta-kill. And unless you're facing someone that mitigates % health damage, that's going to be the insta-kill. And also on the leadership, you're gaining extra offense whenever enemies get above. So that offense does skyrocket eventually. And it's so survivable. There's just going to be an awesome team, offense or defense. It's going to be incredible. However, I don't know if it'll be vulnerable to bounty hunters or not, or other insta-kill teams, because you can still just take out General Skywalker, and if they can survive the 5-1st onslaught long enough, they can make it work. And also, kind of Shakti clones is also going to be increasing because of Rex, how he works, and then how survivable 5s is. But definitely the go-to is General Skywalker, so that's why there's not another separate Shakti team for it. Now we got Santa. Santa's stock is going down. It's going way down. They just don't have enough damage for offense. On defense, maybe if you have an extremely beefy Stormtrooper Han already, it could be a timeout team. But I think if you're going against this team, you're going to have a way to deal with it at some point, whether it's healing immunity or just good damage. I already don't like Santa. I already don't use her. I don't have the Omicron, granted, but yeah, they just don't have enough damage. And Iden also, sadly, has a stock that is decreasing as well. She's already been falling for me recently. I mean, it's also because I don't have great mods on the team. I don't prioritize Death Trooper mods or anything, and they're all only R5. But I just don't see her having the damage to get through enemy teams enough. Maybe on defense she could be somewhat viable, but again, I don't really think so. I think there's too many counters out there for her, and the damage doesn't scale enough to be useful on offense, which is where she's usually needed. But it might make Wampa harder to deal with. Wampa will probably have a more difficult time dealing with this if they have more survivability. But his dots will eventually get somewhere on them. So I don't know. Sadly, I think she's going down. Going up is Tuskens. Their stock is definitely rising because of all the damage over times they have. I think set 8 is probably the best to use. But when you're facing a set 9 team with all that extra survivability, those dots are going to rip through them. You basically need to survive long enough and let your enemy just melt in front of your eyes from all the dots. Without all the dots, they don't have enough damage, I don't think, to get through. In 3v3, they're going to be a menace as well. But I think with all the extra survivability meta, Tuskens definitely go up, but I would only take them on offense. I wouldn't set them on defense. It's just too easy to get around. Next we got Sortie, and I think this team goes up slightly, but just for defense. I think on offense, they've never really had enough damage to be a consistent use. And she lost her Super Datacron with a spare part, so I think she's going down from that. But just as a general team, her value as a timeout team is going up. I mean, Sortie already has great survivability, and she's getting all that protection up based on her health. So if that goes up high, it's going to be amazing. And there's also a level 6 where she has a chance to dispel on herself, so she could dispel buff immunity or healing immunity. So I definitely think this is going just a little bit up on defense, but not offense. Now we got the boss team, and it's clear as day to me that their stock is going up. Mainly because of the insta-kill on Mando. Yes, that's going to take anyone out that's not a Galactic Legend. And, I mean, that's huge. And you can do that multiple times. So, definitely going up. And another reason it's going up is because of all the survivability. I mean, Boss Lead is all about survivability. It's just going to add on top of the Datacron, and they're going to be even better on offense than before because some of the counters are iffy because it's like, can they hang on? Can they survive? But when all other things are equal offensively, and then survivability is going up for everyone, if they can outlast, they're going to get some annihilates off and completely turn the battle in their favor. I think Bounty Hunters is going to be just such a good offensive team, and I cannot wait to use them. In Grand Arena, you want Zam, but in Territory War, I mean, you can make adjustments as well, but the principle still remains. Since I know there's plenty of Aura Sing enthusiasts out there, this stock is also going up as well. The easy contract is going to be great for all the reasons talked about earlier with Mando, and them surviving longer should make it more of a lock to get that contract, so they're going up too. In a similar vein, we have Darth Traya, and her stock is skyrocketing, at least in Grand Arena. In Territory War, it's but in Grand Arena, it's already such a dominant team with Traya's, Omicron, and Savage's. This is the best lineup, no questions asked. You basically need a Galactic Legend to beat it. However, if you put it on defense, I don't know if the stock's going up so much, because if someone's going to use the Eternal Emperor anyway, it's going to be the same result no matter what. But on offense, their stock is skyrocketing for sure. Should be an easy fight against Reva, I think. Because survivability, they just need to survive. They need Nihilus to get to his Annihilate, take out Third Sister, and then pick apart the team from there. This is going to be just so good. It might even be a light side Galactic Legends counter. I'm not sure. I'm interested to see how it plays out, but I'm just so excited to use this team, hopefully, and so scared to face it. Next up is kind of a toss-up as Dr. Aphra team, but I'd argue that their stock is going down. They rely on doing a lot of damage early, at least with Galactic Legend teams. I'm thinking mainly of facing Jabba, and that's why I say down. So, because before I think they were able to beat Jabba, in this new meta with all the super stats, I don't see them doing it anymore. Yes, Aphra can stack up to massive damage with all her siphons eventually, but that does take a long time, and you're going to need even more than before to get through those thick things. For everything else other than like countering Jabba, their stock is probably going up because she already has great initiative, great damage, and making them survivable. They're kind of flimsy. It could make it work, but I think there's the counters that worked before are still going to work now. So I don't know. I really, the jury's kind of out for me on Aphra. People might think I'm crazy for this, but I think the Mole team stock is definitely going down, at least on offense. On defense, maybe it's a timeout risk, but I think Bo-Katan's unique, where it's giving all the extra protection. That's not going to be a multiplier effect. I think it's going to be happening kind of concurrently. So this team is already getting plus 100% protection. I think they'll be just getting like plus 130% protection. And you have to pick light side or dark side. So that's another reason why they're going down. As long as they fix the level 3 and it only cares about the alignment. So if you pick dark side, you're only going to get 15% for Canderous and Maul for health and protection. And if you pick light side, you get for some of the others. Just depends which comp you go for. And on offense, Maul, yes, he ignores defense, which is nice. But with all the extra health and protection, his damage output is fixed based on his own offense. And you'd have to have a ton of offense to make it work for him now. I just don't think he's going to be able to get through the characters he needs to fast enough, because the rest of the damage is pretty bad. Yes, Canderous has damage over time on his basic, but you're going to need like an otherworldly amount of damage over times to make it work. Bam's damage is nerfed. A Bam team is kind of like a Dash team. By the way, I'm not doing a full BAM team, but I think his stock would go down as well because his damage is not going to be cutting it anymore. So this could be like a timeout. No, I don't think it could be a timeout team on defense. It's just, it's mixed faction and they don't have enough damage anymore. So just stick your maul with Lord Vader. Then we got Night Sisters, and their stock is going up for multiple reasons. I mean, they're a featured faction, one of 3 in the set, so they got a lot of extra abilities too. But even with the survivability meta, they're going to do great. I mean, Plague is based on health, so it's going to be crazy. And they're doing, 5% health when inflicted at the start of their turn. So, and they're going to stack that up to infinity with their level 6 and level 9 ability for Marin. So this team's going to be amazing. And keeping their survivability, and giving them survivability, it's kind of a mixed bag because you're not having them die off because you want people to die off. But yeah, I still think they're going to make it work. Just keeping them alive, and then they're Asajj, if you have her Omicron, she can ramp up her damage. So it's going to be a great team for sure. Stock is going up, at least in Grand Arena. In Territorial War, probably up to, but not as much. Newer team here, but we got the Seer team. People will start getting her eventually. But this stock is going up for sure on defense. On offense, maybe it's going up too. They do have pretty great damage. But on defense, for sure, this is already so hard to get through all the extra. She has a lot of survivability boost and all the protection up that Seer gives out. It's going to be even more annoying to deal with. Of course, if you have good dispels, then you might be able to work around it. But the stock is definitely going up for sure on defense. But probably offense too. I think Maul's actually a great option on this team too, since his team isn't as great. But I'm definitely still going to be scared of seeing Seer. Next, we got a Grand Arena only team, pretty much. The Hux lead, First Order TIE Pilot Omicron. I think their stock is clearly going down. This is a fast, furious team where they rely on doing a ton of damage early and then they kind of die quickly. Yes, Kylo Ren on mass has great survivability, but any team you're going against, they usually have a way to dispel or get around it, and they start killing off Hux, Sith Trooper, and First Order TIE Pilot, which are pretty flimsy characters. And yeah, they're going to get more survivable, but flimsy characters, when you give them survivability boosts, it's not awe-inspiring. They still don't have great base armor, so they're going down in my book. On the other hand, Bad Batch is going way up in their stock, mainly because they have so much control, they ignore defense, and yes, the health and protection might be annoying to get through, but when Bad Batch is in a position to win, they win pretty fast. So all the extra health and protection isn't going to be a concern to get through, and the survivability is going to help them out a ton. The problem with them is they can get a little flimsy, but Wrecker's going to be amazing when you give them all that survivability, and they're just going to be a force to be reckoned with on offense. I don't know if they could be good on defense, so we'll have yet to see, but I think they're going to be just an amazing powerhouse on offense. Next, I'm sorry to say, the Imperial Trooper team's stock is going down. It already been going down for me, but with this, it puts a severe damper on their abilities. They rely on getting kills to get plenty of extra turn meter from Veers' unique, and if you're not able to get as many kills, you're not going to get that turn meter train go. And they are super flimsy. The survivability is not going to help them enough to overcome their woes with the turn meter train. I mean, there could be uses for them. I don't think they're going to be obsolete by any means, but they might be just a cleanup team for me. And I had already been cannibalizing the team for their spare parts, putting P out with Lord Vader, putting Moff Gideon, maybe with Padme sometimes, sticking range and Colonel Stark with Iden. But yeah, they are going down for sure. Might get some argument on this one, but I think Geonosians are going down in viability. Yes, they have the big hit from Spy, but it's already hard to get that stacked up high enough to take out very tanky opponents. And the 1,000 cuts offense they have with all the swarm attack is going to be less effective. And also with the shared health and protection pool, yes, they're getting a boost, but Poggle is very flimsy and he really drags down the pool. He is just such low base protection. I mean, in Gear 13, protection isn't going up until Relic 9 for characters with relics. So he has such a low base. It's 24,000 base protection. He really hurts the team. So if they're on defense, you can target him and make use of that. Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to want to use set 8 still anyway, but with much stronger opponents to go against, I think they're clearly going down. In Territory War, actually, that's different, I think. With Apago Omicron, they might just be incredible, but I don't really know. I think that kind of got nerfed after its initial run. So in Territory War, yeah, definitely going up. But Grand Arena, which is my main focus, they are going down. Now, I know this is kind of an obscure team. People don't use Jedi Knight Luke lead that much, but I think the stock for a Jedi Knight Luke lead is going up. The problem with Luke is a lot of times just surviving until you can start or get that graded ability off and nerf the speed of the enemy. If you can make him just super slow and then increase his speed a lot. I have a lot of speed on mine. I have 100. I probably should change that, but if you can have him super low on speed, just super high damage, you're going to be able to get through a lot of tanks and or tanky teams, and he does true damage on tanks with his basic. It gets up there. You'd want another damage dealer in there for sure, like Ki-Adi-Mundi, a Shock Thief for offense. I think they can work. Definitely an offense-only team, and I mean, you could put other superstars with him to make it more viable, but I think his stock has a chance of going up, especially with his speed control. Controlling speed is huge, and if a team takes a long time to get around, it's going to be easier to do when they're taking less turns. And finally, the last but certainly not least is a Jedi Knight Revan team, and this stock is going up. Yes, they are focused because Old Republic is getting boosts, and Bastila Shan should have an amazing level 9 Datacron if they ever fix it. Right now, it's only working if she's in the lead slot, which is kind of redundant. I don't know. But they're going to have amazing survivability, so I think you'd probably want to take them on offense. On defense, I think they're too vulnerable to take out Yoda and then just try to control Jolee. But on offense, the debate used to be whether you use Bastila Shan lead or Jedi Knight Revan lead to counter something like Grievous. Sometimes use Bastila Shan lead, but if they get it working right, you don't have to choose. You have both leads active. They're going to be crazy survivable. Yoda won't get the extra protection boost from Bastila, so he'll be vulnerable. But you got Jolee to keep bringing him back, and Jolee is so tanky. He has super great critical avoidance. It's to have its tenacity percentage. So hopefully you just keep him alive, and then he can bring back Yoda if needed. But yeah, you got to protect Yoda and make sure he's doing the damage. So I don't know if it's going to get past like Galactic Legend level or like a Malgus or anything, but their stock is definitely going up. So that's all the squads I'm going over. It was pretty exhausting. That was almost 30 squads. I hope that you appreciate a full breakdown. So I didn't cover Galactic Legends in this video. They're pretty much all going up in stock, some more than others. I might do another video on that in a sec. But thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to give a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.